We saw Kawhi go back to Toronto in that Clipper game. And man, the Clippers, they are coming as advertised, right? And so I have a few takeaways about that. And I think watching Paul George shoot damn near, 45% from the 3-point line. We know that's not sustainable, but if it is for anybody, I don't know about y'all, but I kind of forgot how he started last year in Oklahoma City. You remember before the shoulders started to bother him, he was an MVP candidate. And if he's going to return to that form, man, you can forget about it, right? You can forget about it. But the other night in Toronto, you saw it was kind of like a length on length crime with him and Pascal Siakam. They kind of eliminated each other, right? You saw them both shoot poorly in their length and size. They're not used to dealing with guys with similar attributes. Styles make fights, and that's what you saw in that fight. But it was a cool, classy thing. I low-key thought Canada might be a little salty, but they handled it well, right? And watching Kawhi in this Clipper team, I think the biggest thing that I am surprised with is Kawhi's creating and his willingness to pass. We saw it grow a little bit last year in Toronto, but I think the big difference is right now you're seeing with Kawhi is he is driving and attacking with the intent to create for others. And that makes all the difference in the world. Not every time, don't get me wrong. But in the past, it had always been plan B or sometimes plan C to make the pass, right? But you're seeing him understand the gravity and the attention he's drawing where he plows his way into the paint, comes to that big 2-footed hop, and you're seeing these scoop passes and these slick passes to the weak side, drop-offs, drop-backs, and he just never had that in his game, and so I'm impressed with that. Obviously, the load management, and he still walks crazy. They showed a shot of him walking into the arena. He's still walking crazy, but I mean, maybe that's just his gait and his natural limp that it's going to be, right? I think that the question I have is, I've got a couple. I think that the Clippers, I think that their depth is amazing, but ultimately, you have to look at how they match up with the Lakers, right? Because that's cool. You've got depth there. They can beat most people, but that's the matchup everybody's circling. That's who they're going to have to get through. And that's where it's going to be stylistically. Is it going to be this switch everything kind of small ball that the Clippers have, or this over the size of the Lakers, right? And I think Patrick Beverley is super key in the sense of you can put him on like guy basically 1 through 3. We saw Doc put him on KD like last playoffs, right? But him being able to be on ball of whatever lead star the other team has allows Kawhi and Paul George to just lurk the weak side and just cause havoc, right? And use their length as help defenders, because that's where they really shine at this point in their career, right? They're not as great on ball at this point. Kawhi, not so much as Paul George, but they have that versatility. The one thing I thought that's funny is, Mo Harkless is in the starting lineup and he looks really nice, but we know what time it is with Mo Harkless. We've seen this too many times. How many times have you seen him disappear in the playoffs for Portland? And that's frankly why they gave up on him. They may be regretting it now, but you have to move on. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again if you're failing. I don't think you can trust Mo Harkless in the playoffs. I think it's proven. So as good as he looks, that's a word of caution to Clipper fans. I think you may see them relying on Patrick Peterson or is it JaMychal Green, who I don't know if he's chipped up along with our little Squire over there, Shamit, right? But they need that stretch guy. But here's the real question. Here's what I'm getting at back to the Lakers in that matchup is Zubac playable against true bigs and big lineups, right? He's kind of like a matchup for certain teams. But if you see Jokic, you see the Lakers at some point, can you play? They don't really he's their only true center. So are they going to try and go get somebody, another big for these matchups? Because if you want to look way ahead and you're coming out of the Western Conference, let's say somehow you get by the Lakers, are you going to see a Joel Embiid? Milwaukee has a lot of size, right? And so that's my question. And you look, people say they have a lot of assets. I don't think they're going to be willing to break up that Lou Trez combo off the bench, but those are really their only assets. I don't think they're going to move Shamit. Some of these guys are on 1-year deals. I was looking around the league playing with the trade machine. The guy that I circled that could maybe be available would be a Derek Favors, right? New Orleans is going to have to rethink things. They thought they were going to be in the playoffs this year. They go get Reddick on a 1-year. No, Reddick's on a 2-year deal, I believe. Favors is on a 1-year deal. But, are they willing to give up Landry Shamet for a right now move and add some size? And, I don't know. Jerry West, he pulls the strings and I don't see it happening. But you also have to consider the Clippers' timetable. Remember, Kawhi and Paul George are on 2-year deals. This is a right now thing. They can't look too far into the future with their assets. They kind of have to push all their chips in now, especially considering how many chips they gave up to make this happen, right? But like I said, ultimately, I don't think that they're going to be willing to break up that chemistry between those two for the right now, unless a major big becomes available. What else about these Clippers? Yeah, that's it. How are they going to? It's going to be an interesting stylistic thing if we get those two teams eventually both healthy. And which style? Because I think here's the thing. I don't, and I wouldn't have said this a year or two ago, but I don't think Kawhi and Paul George are big enough to handle LeBron and AD. If you want to just match them up like that, right? And you say, okay, we'll put Kawhi, take your pick, right? You put Kawhi on LeBron and Paul George on AD. A few years ago, I would have maybe bought into that. But if you watch the Lakers, those two have really embraced their bully ball and their size, and they're playing, both of them, more physical than I've ever seen them play. And so that's where I'm not sure they can do that. As strong as Kawhi is, I don't know. I don't see that happening. So that's why I think they may need another bigger body. And then you consider JaVale, Dwight all over the glass. They've got 2 7-footers in there at all times. Could be problematic. Or you contrast that and you say, well, they're going to run them off the floor. They're going to spread them out and force the Lakers to go small, which would be their weakness. So there may be an arms race, depending. If you watch, keep your eye at this trade deadline. If the Lakers go get somebody, is that going to force the Clippers to go make a move? Because stylistically, if and when they meet in the playoffs, it's going to be who's going to give in to the other style. Are the Lakers going to be forced to go small, or are the Clippers going to be forced to try to play big? And I'm curious to see how that plays out. Again, who acquires somebody. There's not a whole lot of bigs on the market. There's not, it's going to be interesting.
So long as like alchemy.